The silver champagne flute slipped from Garrison Ainsworth's hand at exactly 8:47 in the evening and shattered against the white marble piazza floor at 21 Trad Street, 3 feet from where Imara Boateng was kneeling to pick up a fallen linen napkin. The shards spread in a small, bright crescent across the marble. The October Charleston night air, soft and salt-damp from the harbor 2 blocks south, carried the broken silver sound up through the live oaks and the Spanish moss and the lit Bevo Mill string lights strung between the piazza columns. The string quartet on the second-floor gallery, who had been playing Pachelbel's Canon in D major for the third time that evening, did not pause. The 218 guests in their cream linen and pale blue silk and crisp seersucker did not pause. Garrison Ainsworth, in his perfectly tailored navy three-piece wool suit with the silver gray pocket square and the silver wristwatch with the black alligator strap, looked down at the broken flute, and then he looked down at the kneeling woman in the catering uniform. Imara Boateng was 28 years old that October evening, and she had been a maid and server with the Trad Street Catering Company for 11 months, and she was 4 months pregnant, and she was a widow. She wore the company's standard kitchen uniform, black slacks, a long-sleeved white cotton blouse buttoned to the throat, a black canvas apron tied tight at the waist, and flat black walking shoes. Her thick, natural black, coily hair was pulled back into a low puff and covered with a faded red cotton head wrap knotted at the nape of her neck. She had a small crescent-shaped scar on her left cheek from a fall as a child in Kumasi, and she had her late mother Mama Adwoa's slow, careful brown eyes, and she had the small, soft, early roundness at her waist that came of carrying her late husband's child. Her late husband, Mr. Kwame Boateng, had been killed 7 months earlier in a crane fall industrial accident at the Charleston Naval Shipyard. He had not lived to know about the baby. Imara, kneeling, with the fallen linen napkin folded carefully into her apron pocket, did not look up at Mr. Garrison Ainsworth. She had been trained in her 11 months at Trad Street Catering never to look up at the family at one of these parties. She had been trained to be invisible, to clear, to serve, to refill, to vanish. She knew the rules. She had needed this job. She still needed this job. But Coraline Vassar, the fiancée, 27 years old, slim, in a coral pink silk slip dress that hugged her body to the knee, with sleek jet black straight hair falling past her shoulders and coral red lipstick and gold chandelier earrings that swung when she turned her head. Coraline Vassar saw the broken flute, and Coraline Vassar saw the kneeling pregnant maid. And Coraline Vassar made a small, sharp sound in her throat that the string quartet, 2 stories above, did not hear. "Garrison," Coraline said. Her voice was bright and clean and very precise. "Garrison, dear." "The girl knocked the flute out of your hand," Imara, still kneeling on the white marble, said quietly to the floor. "Ma'am, I did not. The flute slipped. I was clearing the napkin. I was not standing near you, sir." Coraline laughed. It was a short, pretty laugh. "Oh," she said. "Oh, you've been listening then. That's nice. The maid has opinions." Mrs. Ulysses Vassar, 54 years old, in a pressed cream 2-piece silk skirt suit and a double-strand pearl necklace and cream closed-toe pumps, came up the piazza steps at a careful walk and laid a thin hand on her daughter's arm. "Coraline, sugar, there is no need." But Coraline had already turned her head down at the kneeling woman. "Stand up, please," she said. Her voice was bright. "Garrison wants to look at you." Imara stood up. The small, soft, early roundness at her waist showed under the white blouse. She had not meant for it to show. She had been careful to tie her apron loose. But she had been kneeling and the apron had ridden up, and the soft, small 4-month curve was visible to anyone who looked. Garrison Ainsworth, in his perfectly tailored navy 3-piece, looked. His calm, dark eyes, eyes that the Charleston Post and Courier business pages had once called the most patient eyes in coastal South Carolina shipping, Those eyes went down to the soft, small 4-month curve, and they came back up to Imara's face, and they did not smile. "You are pregnant," Garrison said. "Yes, sir," said Imara. "Where is the father?" Garrison said. "He passed, sir," said Imara. "7 months ago, at the shipyard." "Did he?" said Coraline, her bright laugh again. "Did he indeed? And what was the shipyard worker's name, sweetheart?" "Mr. Kwame Boateng, ma'am," said Imara. "He was a rigger on the SS Cape Trinity refit." Coraline turned her face up to Garrison. "Darling," she said, "she came to your engagement party 4 months pregnant by a dead man, and she dropped the flute. Are we entertaining her now? Are we letting the help drop crystal in front of the Ravenel family on the evening I received your grandmother's ring?" Mrs. Ulysse Vassar said, low and warning. "Coraline." But Garrison Ainsworth had already turned his head toward the security desk at the porte cochere, and he had already raised one finger, and the finger was a very particular finger that Mr. Bart Quinlan, known in the Ainsworth household as Toad, had been trained for 9 years to read. Toad came up the piazza in 3 long strides. He was 45, white, square-shouldered in his black security blazer. "Sir," said Toad, "this catering employee has dropped my crystal in front of 200 guests, including the Ravenel family," said Garrison. "She is also, apparently, an unmarried pregnant woman who has come to my engagement party seeking visibility. Please remove her from the property." "With her wages, sir?" said Toad. "Without," said Garrison. "And inform Mrs. Pinckney at Trad Street Catering that the contract is voided as of the breakage." Toad looked at Imara. He had a very slight pity in his face that he had been trained in 9 years to hide. He did not hide it well that night. "Ma'am," said Toad, "please come with me." Imara untied the black canvas apron. She folded it carefully into a small, neat square. She set it on the white marble piazza floor next to the broken flute. She did not cry. She did not speak. She walked with Toad down the piazza steps, past the boxwood topiaries and the lit Bevo string lights, past the 200 guests who did not pause in their conversation, past the lit caterer's van and the 3 idling Mercedes sedans of the Ravenel party. She walked through the wrought iron gate at 21 Trad Street, and she walked out onto the wet October sidewalk of the historic district, and she walked. The rain had started while she had been kneeling for the napkin. It was a soft, slow Charleston rain, the kind that came up from the harbor in early autumn and laid the city flat under a fine, cool mist. Imara walked through it. She walked north on Meeting Street, past the Mills House Hotel and the lit fronts of the antique shops and the dark windows of the law offices, and she walked across the Calhoun Street Bridge over the U.S. Route 17 connector, and she walked on into North Charleston, and she walked the 4.5 miles to her small Section 8 one-bedroom apartment at 8419 Dorchester Road, and she walked into the apartment at 10:41 in the evening, and she sat down on the edge of the pull-out couch where she slept, and she finally, with both hands pressed flat against the small, soft, early roundness at her waist, she cried. She cried for the dropped flute. She cried for Mr. Kwame Boateng. She cried for the small, soft 4-month child she carried. She cried, most of all, because she knew, even in her crying, that she had no rent for November. She had $384 in a faded green canvas wallet, and rent at 84119 Dorchester Road was $841 a month. The Trad Street Catering Company would not pay her last paycheck. She had been informed of that by Mrs. Pinckney, the company owner, by text message at 11:17 that night. Mrs. Pinckney was sorry. Mrs. Pinckney had been a Trad Street fixture for 26 years. Mrs. Pinckney could not lose the Ainsworth contract. Mrs. Pinckney hoped Imara would understand. Imara understood. She had known, even as she had untied the apron on the white marble piazza floor, that the catering job was done. She had only one other call to make that night. She made it to her late mother's church in Kumasi, where the choir master, a man Mama Adwa had once played piano for at midnight services, picked up on the third ring. She told him only that she was well and that she was praying for him. She did not tell him about the engagement party. She did not tell him about the small, soft 4-month curve at her waist. He told her, in the slow, careful twi of her childhood, that the river that has been chased was still a river and the morning would come. She thanked him. She hung up. She slept 3 hours on the pull-out couch with both hands pressed flat against the small, soft, early roundness, and she dreamed of nothing. She was evicted from 8499 Dorchester Road on the morning of Tuesday, October 21st, by Mr. Lyle Wheaton of the Charleston County Sheriff's Office, who taped the formal posting to her front door at 11 minutes past 9 in the morning and gave her until 5 p.m. that afternoon to vacate. Imara had 2 suitcases of clothing, 3 plastic grocery bags of kitchen things, the small wooden carving of Mr. Kwame Botung's hand that he had whittled for her on their first dating walk along the Battery, and $384 in a faded green canvas wallet. She walked out of 84199 Dorchester Road at 4:30 p.m. and rode the Carter Route 11 bus down to the Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park at the foot of the peninsula, and she sat on a bench facing the Ashley River, and she watched the sun set over the marsh. She did not know where she would sleep. She had no relatives in Charleston. Mama Adwoa Boateng had died in Kumasi 3 years earlier. Mr. Kwame Boateng's family was in Houston, and they had quarreled with Imara at the funeral and would not take her in. She was still sitting on the Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park bench at 12 minutes past 8 in the evening, a soft, cool October Tuesday night. The third stars beginning to come up over the masts of the docked sailing yachts at the Charleston City Marina, when the soft, small, early 4-month and 6 weeks pregnancy contractions began. They began very small. She thought, at first, it was hunger. She had not eaten since the morning, but the small, soft contractions came again 4 minutes later, and they came again 3 minutes after that, and she stood up from the bench, and the rush of fluid down her leg told her that the small, soft, early child she carried was coming 6 weeks early on the Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park bench. She did not have a phone. She had pawned her phone the previous week to make groceries. She began to walk, slowly, holding her belly north up Lockwood Drive in the dark. A man's voice behind her said, quiet and steady, "Daughter, you're going to fall. Sit on this bench. I have a phone." Imara turned. The man was old. He was very old. He was a black man in his middle 70s, perhaps, 5 feet 8 inches tall, slender, in a faded blue cotton work shirt and clean gray twill trousers and worn brown leather Oxfords. He had close-cropped silver hair and a short, well-kept silver beard, and his dark eyes behind small, round, wire-rimmed spectacles were calm and unsurprised. He was holding a folded copy of the Charleston Post and Courier and a small white paper bag from the Marina Variety Store restaurant. He set both down on the bench. He took out his phone. "My name is Mr. Coriolanus Ainsworth," said the old man. "My friends call me Cole. I'm going to call the ambulance, and then I'm going to sit beside you until it comes. Do you have someone I can call after?" "No, sir," whispered Imara. "Then I will call no one after," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth, "and I will come with you to the hospital. May I sit?" "Yes, sir," whispered Imara. He sat. He called 911 at 12:48 in the morning. The Charleston EMS ambulance reached the Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park bench at 4 minutes past 1. Mr. Cole Ainsworth rode in the ambulance to the Medical University of South Carolina Children's Hospital on Ashley Avenue. He sat in the neonatal waiting area for the next 11 hours. Baby Kojo Boateng was born at 3:41 in the morning on Wednesday, October 22, 2025, weighing 4 pounds and 11 ounces. He was placed immediately in a NICU isolette and was breathing on his own within the first hour. Ms. Sienna Okafor, the 34-year-old Nigerian-American NICU nurse who had received him, came out into the waiting area to find the well-dressed elderly man with the folded newspaper. "Sir," said Miss Okafor, "are you the grandfather?" "No, miss," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "I am her neighbor. May I see her?" "She is asking for you," said Miss Okafor. He came in. He sat by the hospital bed. Imara, exhausted, in a thin hospital gown, with her hair still pulled back in the faded red head wrap that she had not removed even through delivery, looked at the small gray-haired stranger sitting beside her, and she said, "Sir, I have no insurance. I have no money. I have no apartment. I will go to the social worker tomorrow morning." "You will come home with me," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. She looked at him. Her dark, slow eyes filled. She said, "Sir, I do not know you." "You do not," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "But I have a small cottage on Smith Street in Ragboro, 3 blocks from here. The second bedroom has been empty for 8 years. It has a crib in it. It was my granddaughter's. She is 20 now, and she is at Spelman College, and she does not visit anymore. You and the small one will fit in that room. You will pay no rent. You will help me in the garden. You will not steal from me. You will not lie to me. Those are my terms." Imara, lying in the hospital bed, looked at the small, calm old man, and she said, "Yes, sir. I will not steal from you. I will not lie to you. Thank you, sir." "Good," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "Sleep, daughter. I will come back at noon with a car." He left. Imara did not know, lying in the MUSC bed that morning, that the small, calm old man in the faded blue cotton work shirt was the founder of Ainsworth Shipping LLC, the company her late husband, Mr. Kwame Boateng, had been killed working a subcontract for. She did not know that the small, calm old man was the granduncle of Mr. Garrison Ainsworth, who had thrown her out of the engagement party at 21 Trad Street the previous October. She did not know that the small, calm old man had been forced into early retirement 8 years earlier by his great-nephew through a contested board vote, and that the small, calm old man had been watching from the small cottage on Smith Street while his great-nephew ran the company harder and meaner each quarter. She did not know that the small, calm old man read the Charleston Post and Courier business pages every single morning at the Marina Variety Store restaurant counter, and had read that very morning of the engagement party at 21 Trad Street. She did not know any of that. She knew only that the small, calm old man was kind, and that the small, calm old man had said she and Kojo would fit in the empty second bedroom, and that she would not have to sleep on the Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park bench again that night. The small Ragboro cottage at 47 Smith Street was a 2-bedroom, single-story Charleston single house, built in 1891, painted soft pale yellow with white trim. It had a small piazza on the side and a small fenced garden in back, with 3 rose bushes, a fig tree, and a small bed of collard greens. The second bedroom had a hand-painted white spindle crib in the corner, a small, soft rocking chair, and a window that looked into the fig tree. Imara moved in on Friday, October 24th. She brought Kojo home from MUSC on Tuesday, October 28th, after the early arrival observation period ended. Mr. Cole Ainsworth had bought a car seat. He had also bought a stroller, 6 packs of newborn diapers, 4 bottles of formula, a small, soft blue knit blanket, and a small, soft brown stuffed bear with 1 button eye. "Sir," said Imara, the first afternoon, "I cannot accept all of this." "You may," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "These are the terms. The terms have not changed." She nursed Kojo. She rocked Kojo. She slept in the small, soft second bedroom, and she rose at 6 a.m. each morning to make Mr. Cole Ainsworth his black coffee and his single soft-boiled egg and his single slice of dark Pepperidge Farm rye toast. She cleaned the small yellow cottage. She weeded the small fenced garden. She walked Kojo in the stroller along East Bay Street at 4 in the afternoon. She slowly began to live again. The cottage at 47 Smith Street had a small front parlor with a single horsehair settee, a hand-stitched cushion in faded blue cotton, and a small upright piano against the north wall. The piano had not been played in 8 years. Imara dusted it on her 3rd morning. Mr. Cole Ainsworth, watching her dust, said quietly, My wife played. Dorothea. She passed in 2009. The piano is tuned every spring by Mr. Buford Cruel of Mount Pleasant. He has tuned it every spring for 31 years. He will come in April. You may use it, daughter, if you can play. I cannot, sir, said Imara. Mama Adwa played. I never learned. She had wanted to teach me, but the lessons were too dear in Kumasi, and there was always something more pressing. Mr. Cruel teaches, said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. He is 63. He has a Steinway studio on Coleman Boulevard. I will speak to him about lessons. Kojo will hear the small one through the wall in the second bedroom, and his ear will form. She had not thought about her son's ear before. She thought about it now. She nodded to the small, calm old man. She kept dusting. The cottage had a back porch screen door that did not close properly. Imara fixed it on her fifth morning with 2 new brass hinges from the Smith Street Ace Hardware and a small wrench from the kitchen drawer. Mr. Cole Ainsworth watched from the kitchen table. He said, "You have done that before." "My father was a joiner in Kumasi, sir," said Imara. "He passed when I was 11. I watched him often. The small hinges I remember well." "And what of school?" said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "Charleston Southern University," said Imara. "I took a degree in accounting 4 years ago. I did not finish the certification examinations. There was Mr. Kwame, and there was the rent, and there was the shipyard. I worked first as a clerk, then at catering when the clerk job was cut last spring." Mr. Cole Ainsworth set down his teacup. He looked at her a long, careful moment. He said, "Daughter, bring me the box file from the second shelf of the parlor closet, the one marked Holdings in pencil. You will help me, beginning this afternoon, with the household accounts. They are small. They will not strain you, but you will do them, and I will pay you a small wage for the work, separate from the room and board. Is that acceptable?" "Yes, sir," said Imara. "But you do not owe me a wage." "I will owe whom I owe," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "Bring the box file." She brought it. The box file was old brown leather scuffed at the corners. Inside were 40 years of household ledgers, brokerage statements, life insurance policies, a small worn manila folder marked Dorothea, and a long, careful list of charitable monthly outlays. St. Michael's Episcopal Church, the Charleston Animal Society, the Avery Research Center, the Charleston Symphony, the Memminger Auditorium Restoration Fund, the Charleston Naval Shipyard Fallen Workers Memorial Fund. The Fallen Workers Fund had a small notation in pencil beside it in Mr. Cole Ainsworth's slow, careful hand. "Mr. K. Boateng, March 2025, $4,500 anonymous in memoriam." Imara saw the entry. She looked up at the small, calm old man. "Sir," she whispered, "you knew." "I read the casualty report in the Post and Courier, daughter," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "I sent the small amount the week after. I did not know you then. I did not know about the small one. I read your husband's obituary. He was a good rigger. The crane was old. The contract had been let by my great-nephew to a Savannah outfit at a price that did not cover the proper inspections. I knew that also. I did not act on it. I have carried that daughter for 7 months. I am asking you now in the small, slow way I can to forgive me for not acting. I will act in other ways. The cottage, the crib, the bottle, the small one. The lessons with Mr. Cruel, they are small, and they are not enough. They are what I can give." Imara, holding the brown leather box file in both hands, sat down on the edge of the parlor settee. She said, very low, "Sir, there is nothing to forgive. You did not own the crane. You did not let the contract." "I owned the company, daughter," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "I had owned it 45 years. They put me out in 2017 because I was 81 and the board wanted faster numbers. The contract was let in 2024. I was a private citizen. But I owned the company 45 years. And the rigging culture I built had been the kind of culture that did not let crane contracts to Savannah subcontractors at 60 cents on the dollar prices. Whatever the law says, the line runs through me, daughter. I am asking your forgiveness." She put down the box file. She came across the parlor. She knelt by the small, calm old man's chair, the way she had knelt by him at the kitchen table on the seventh evening. She put both her hands on his cold, dry hands. "Sir," she said, "I forgive you. There was nothing to forgive, but I forgive you all the same." He nodded. He did not weep. He said quietly, "Then we are square, daughter. Bring me the November statement from the green folder. The Charleston Savings and Loan Reconciliation is overdue by 2 days, and I do not like to be overdue." She brought it. She did the reconciliation that afternoon at the kitchen table, with Kojo asleep on the soft blue knit blanket beside her. She found a small posting error of $41.70 in the bank's favor. She wrote a careful letter to the branch manager. The $41.70 were credited back to Mr. Cole Ainsworth's account within 10 days. Mr. Cole Ainsworth, reading the credit notice on the back porch the following Monday, said, "Daughter, you are quick." Mr. Cole Ainsworth, in his 8-year retirement, had been diagnosed 3 years earlier with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He had not told Amara that on the bench at Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park, and he did not tell her on the first night at the cottage, and he did not tell her on the second night. He told her finally on the 7th evening when she found him at the kitchen table at 3 in the morning with his head down on the formica. "Sir," she said. "Sir, Mr. Ainsworth. Sir." "Daughter," he said. He did not raise his head. "I am dying. I have been dying for 3 years. I will be dying for perhaps 8 months more, perhaps 11. I would like, if you will agree to it, to die in this kitchen, with you and the small one in the next room, and not in a Mount Pleasant nursing home with the white hospice nurses. Will you stay until I am done?" She knelt by his chair. She put both hands on his cold, dry hands. She said, "Yes, sir, I will stay." "Good," he said. "Sleep, daughter. I will be all right until morning. Go feed the small one." She stayed. She went with him to chemotherapy at the Hollings Cancer Center at MUSC on Wednesday and Friday mornings. She drove his small gray 2008 Honda Accord. She held the kidney basin. She read aloud to him from the Charleston Post and Courier business pages on the back porch in the late afternoon, while Kojo lay on the soft blue knit blanket on the porch floor. She read him, in the second week of December, the announcement of the Ainsworth Shipping LLC annual gala at the Charleston Place Hotel on the first Saturday of February. Mr. Cole Ainsworth said nothing. She read him, in the third week of December, the photographs of Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III and Miss Coraline Vassar at the Junior League Winter Ball, with the caption that the wedding was set for the first Saturday in March. Mr. Cole Ainsworth said nothing. He drank his Pepperidge Farm rye toast tea. He watched the fig tree. In the second week of February, on a soft, cool Saturday morning, Mr. Cole Ainsworth put on his only suit, a dark navy two-piece wool, 22 years old, perfectly pressed, and his only good shoes and a pale silver tie. He said to Amara, "Daughter, put on your best dress. We are going to a small family business dinner this evening. You will bring Kojo. Bring the soft blue blanket." "Sir," said Amara, "I have no dress." "There is a box on the porch," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. The box was from Berlin's of Charleston on King Street. Inside was a long-sleeve, floor-length midnight blue silk dress with a modest high neckline and a pair of small pearl earrings and a single thin silver bracelet. The dress fit Amara as if it had been measured for her, because it had been. "Sir," she whispered. "You will look like a person tonight," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth, "and the people who see you will see a person. Put it on, daughter. We have a car at 6. The small gray Honda Accord delivered them to the porte-cochere of the Charleston Place Hotel on Market Street at 7 minutes past 6 in the evening. The valet, who had known Mr. Cole Ainsworth for 41 years from the King Street Rotary, said, "Mr. Cole, sir, we have not seen you in 8 years." "You have seen me tonight, James," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth, "and you will see me again, perhaps in February next." They walked into the lobby. They walked through the rotunda. They walked into the grand ballroom of the Charleston Place Hotel, where 470 guests of Ainsworth Shipping LLC were seated at round tables with white linen and white roses and lit candles. The Ainsworth Shipping LLC Annual Gala. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III at the head table in a perfectly tailored midnight tuxedo, with Coraline Vassar in a champagne silk gown beside him. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III looked up from his soup spoon, and he saw Mr. Cole Ainsworth, his great-uncle, whom he had not seen in 8 years, walking into the grand ballroom in the 22-year-old navy wool suit. And beside Mr. Cole Ainsworth, Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III saw the woman in the midnight blue silk dress, holding a small, soft, 4-month-old African-American boy against her shoulder. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III lowered his soup spoon. Coraline Vassar followed his eyes across the ballroom. Coraline Vassar said, very softly, "Garrison, is that—" "Yes," said Garrison. "The maid," said Coraline. "Yes," said Garrison. Mr. Cole Ainsworth walked slowly on Imara's arm, the length of the grand ballroom. He stopped at the head table. He looked at his great-nephew. "Garrison," he said, "I am dying. You knew that. You have known for 3 years. I came tonight to see the company once more before I cannot come anywhere. I have brought my granddaughter and her son. I would like 2 chairs." Mr. Garrison Ainsworth. Third's calm, dark eyes, the most patient eyes in coastal South Carolina shipping, as the Post and Courier had once said, moved from the small, calm old man to the woman in the midnight blue silk dress with the small 4-month-old boy against her shoulder. The recognition came up slowly behind his eyes. "Uncle Cole," said Garrison, "this woman is a former catering staff member at 21 Trad Street. She is not your granddaughter." "She is my granddaughter," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth, "in the way that matters. Chairs, please, Garrison. There are empty seats at table 4. Coraline Vassar laughed. It was the same short, pretty laugh. "Garrison, dear, the maid has found her angle. Did the old man pity her because of her baby? Is that the play?" "Coraline," said Mrs. Ulysses Vassar from across the table, low and warning. "Coraline." But Garrison had already stood. He had walked very calmly, very slowly around the head table to Mr. Cole Ainsworth. He had said low, "Uncle Cole, please do not embarrass yourself in front of the board. Please do not embarrass our family in front of the board. Take this woman out the side door. I will pay her cab home." Mr. Cole Ainsworth looked up at his great-nephew. He was 5 feet 8 inches tall. Garrison was 6 feet 2. He looked up the long way. "Garrison," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth, "8 years ago, you put me out of the company I founded in 1979 with a borrowed $800 and a leased tugboat. 8 years ago, you told the board I was no longer competent to operate equipment I had operated for 45 years. Tonight, in this grand ballroom of the Charleston Place Hotel, you will tell 2 seated chairs to be brought to table 4. Or you will tell the board, in front of 470 guests, why you will not seat your great-uncle and his granddaughter at your annual gala. The choice is yours, Garrison. I will wait." The grand ballroom was very quiet. 470 guests, with their lit candles and their white roses, had heard the exchange. Garrison Ainsworth III turned to a waiter. "2 chairs at table 4, please." "Yes, sir," said the waiter. Mr. Cole Ainsworth and Imara Boateng and small 4-month-old baby Kojo Boateng walked on slow, careful Imara's arm to table 4. The board members of Ainsworth Shipping LLC, who had not seen the old founder in 8 years, stood up out of their chairs at table 4. Mr. Norris Cuthbert, the 58-year-old African-American board member and estate executor, came around the table and embraced Mr. Cole Ainsworth and said very softly, "Cole, Cole, Cole, we have missed you." "I have missed you too, Norris," said Mr. Cole Ainsworth. "I will see you again at Holling's office, perhaps, in the spring." Mr. Norris Cuthbert went very still. He looked at Mr. Cole Ainsworth. He said, "Yes, Cole, yes, I will be there." Imara, sitting at table 4 with baby Kojo on her lap, did not understand any of what was passing. She kept her dark, slow eyes down on the linen tablecloth and the lit candle and the small, white rose centerpiece. She fed Kojo a bottle. She did not look across the ballroom at the head table. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III at the head table did not eat his soup. He did not eat his entree. He did not toast. He sat through the speeches and through the dancing and through the cutting of the cake. He watched all through the evening, the small, slow old man at table 4 with the woman in midnight blue silk and the small baby on her lap. And when the gala ended at 11:38 in the evening, and Mr. Cole Ainsworth and Imara Boateng and baby Kojo Boateng walked slowly on Mr. Cole Ainsworth's slow, careful arm out of the grand ballroom of the Charleston Place Hotel, Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III watched them go. Mr. Coriolanus, Cole Ainsworth, died at 4 in the morning on the third Tuesday of March in his small, soft kitchen at 47 Smith Street, with his head down on the formica, and Imara Boateng's hand on his cold, dry hand and a soft, blue knit blanket wrapped around baby Kojo Boateng in the small rocking chair 3 feet away. The light was just beginning to come up over the fig tree. The kettle had not yet boiled. Imara called Mr. Phineas Hollings at the Hollings and Wexler probate office at 6:48 that morning because she had been told to. Mr. Cole Ainsworth had given her the number 2 weeks earlier, written on a piece of yellow legal pad paper, and he had said, "Daughter, when I am done, you will call this number, and you will say, 'Mr. Hollings, Mr. Cole Ainsworth is gone. He told me to call you first. You will say nothing else. You will hand the phone to whoever comes. Do you understand?'" She had said, "Yes, sir." Mr. Phineas Hollings answered the call himself at 6:48 in the morning. He said, "Mrs. Boateng, I am very sorry. I will be at the cottage in 22 minutes. Please do not call the funeral home. I will bring them with me. Please stay with him until I arrive." She stayed. She held Mr. Cole Ainsworth's cold, dry hand. She rocked baby Kojo. Mr. Phineas Hollings arrived at 7:10 in the morning with 2 funeral attendants from J. Henry Stewart, Inc. and an envelope. He sat with Imara at the Formica kitchen table while the attendants did their slow, careful work in the next room. "Mrs. Boateng," said Mr. Phineas Hollings, "Mr. Cole Ainsworth has left a will. I have been his attorney for 38 years. I drafted this will 11 months ago, on the morning after the night he sat with you at Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park. He brought me the draft notes the same week. He executed the final will in front of 3 of my partners and Father Hubert Devlin of St. Michael's Episcopal Church on Broad Street, in my office on the 12th of November of last year. He was lucid. The will is ironclad. Mrs. Boateng, are you listening?" "Yes, sir," whispered Imara. "Mr. Cole Ainsworth has left you," said Mr. Phineas Hollings, "the controlling 67.4% voting interest in Ainsworth Shipping LLC of Charleston, South Carolina, which I am informed has a current fair market valuation of approximately $112 million. He has left you the residence at 21 Trad Street, Charleston, in which Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III currently resides, which has a current fair market valuation of $9.4 million. He has left you this cottage at 47 Smith Street. He has left you the small gray 2008 Honda Accord. He has left you $14,200,000 in liquid Charleston Savings and Loan and Vanguard Group brokerage holdings. He has left a trust for your son, Kojo Boateng, of $3 million to be administered for education and care until he reaches age 25. He has left finally a small bequest of $142,000 to the Charleston Naval Shipyard Fallen Workers Memorial Fund in the name of Mr. Kwame Boateng. There are no other beneficiaries. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III is named in the will only in the section that disinherits him." Imara did not move. She did not cry. She looked at the Formica. Mr. Phineas Hollings said gently, Mrs. Bouton, the probate hearing is scheduled for 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III, his fiancée Miss Coraline Vassar, and Mrs. Ulysses Vassar have already filed a contest. They will be at the hearing. You must be there. I will represent you. There is no possibility, none, that the contest will succeed. The will is ironclad. But you must be there. Mr. Cole instructed me to ask you to be there. Why did he leave it to me, sir? Whispered Imara. He had known me 11 months. He had a granddaughter at Spelman. His granddaughter at Spelman, said Mr. Phineas Hollings, is a separately provided beneficiary of a Vanguard trust executed in 2011 and untouched. She will not lack. Mr. Cole left you to company Mrs. Bouton because he watched you for 11 months in his kitchen. And he said to me once, the morning he signed the will, he said, Phineas, the company has been ridden hard by my great-nephew. She will be quiet. She will be careful. She has known what it is to be the person at the bottom of the white marble floor. She will not run it the way he has. That is what he said. Imara looked at Mr. Phineas Hollings. She said, Sir, I cannot run a shipping company. Mrs. Boteng, said Mr. Phineas Hollings, Mr. Cole has provided. The board of Ainsworth Shipping LLC will be your operating partner. Mr. Norris Cuthbert will serve as interim CEO. You will hold the controlling vote. You will set the values. You will sign the quarterly reports. You will make the company a place where a rigger like Mr. Kwame Boateng does not fall from a crane and leave a 4-month pregnancy behind. That is your work. You will not be alone in it. He paused. He took a small envelope from the inside breast pocket of his suit. He slid it across the Formica. Mr. Cole left this for you, he said. He asked me to give it to you on the morning we sat at this table. It is not part of the will. It is a private letter. I do not know what it says. I am to leave the room while you read it. Please take whatever time you need. Mr. Phineas Hollings stood. He walked out onto the small Ragborough back porch and closed the screen door behind him. The 2 funeral attendants from J. Henry Stewart, Inc. continued their slow, careful work in the parlor. Imara opened the envelope. The letter was 3 small pages of yellow legal pad paper, written in Mr. Cole Ainsworth's slow, careful hand. It read, Daughter, if you are reading this, I am gone. I am sorry I did not stay longer. I had wanted to teach Kojo to walk in the small garden, and I had wanted to take you to the Spoleto Chamber concerts in the spring. We will not have those. Forgive me for the things I cannot give. The things I can give, I have given. They are in the will. The company will frighten you for perhaps a year. You will think you cannot do it. You can. I watched you balance my Charleston savings and loan reconciliation in November to a posting error of $41.70 that the branch had made in their own favor. I watched you fix the back porch screen door with 2 brass hinges in the 2nd week. I watched you read aloud the Post and Courier business pages to me on the back porch when you did not know what they meant. And I watched you stop and ask me what a containerized bunker fuel hedge was. And I watched you understand the answer in 18 seconds. You will run the company. You will run it slow. You will run it careful. You will pay the line workers what they should have been paid. You will check the crane contracts yourself for the first 3 years. You will not let Garrison back into the building. He is not bad, daughter. He is hungry. There is a difference. But hungry people in companies with old cranes get other people killed. Keep him out. Mr. Norris Cuthbert will be your interim. He is older than I was when I started in 1979. He is honest. Listen to him. Do not always agree with him. Trust your own slow, careful eye. It is better than mine was. Kojo is well. Tell him about his father, the rigger. Tell him about his great-uncle Cole, the old shipping man at 47 Smith Street. Tell him the small garden was Dorothea's. Tell him the upright piano was Dorothea's. Tell him the soft blue knit blanket was a gift from a Nigerian-American NICU nurse named Siana Okafor at MUSC on the night he was born. Tell him these things in your slow, careful tweet when you can, so he hears Kumasi in your voice from the beginning. Mama Adwoa Boateng would have liked him. I am sorry I did not meet her. Tell her, if you visit Kumasi, that her daughter is well and her grandson is well, and that an old shipping man from Charleston, South Carolina, sat with the both of them on a park bench on a Tuesday night in October and was given the great quiet gift of being not alone for the last 11 months of his life. Tell her thank you, daughter. From me. With great unhurried care. Cole. Imara read the letter twice. She folded the 3 small pages back into the envelope. She set the envelope on the formica next to her empty teacup. She opened the screen door. She said, Mr. Hollings, I am ready. Please come in. Imara folded her hands in her lap. She said, Yes, sir. I will be there at 9 a.m. Wednesday. On Wednesday morning, the 8th of April, at 4 minutes past 9, Mrs. Imara Boateng walked into the probate hearing room of the Hollings and Wexler LLP offices at 142 Broad Street, Charleston, South Carolina, wearing the same midnight blue silk dress, with baby Kojo Boateng asleep on her shoulder, wrapped in the soft blue knit blanket, and the executed and notarized last will and testament of Mr. Coriolanus Ainsworth in a manila folder pressed under her left elbow. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III was already seated at the long mahogany table in his perfectly tailored charcoal 3-piece suit. Miss Coraline Vassar was seated beside him in a coral pink wool coat over a cream silk blouse. Mrs. Ulysses Vassar was on his other side in pressed ivory. Their attorney, a 51-year-old white man from Nelson Mullins, sat at the head of their side of the table. Garrison saw Imara walk in. He saw the manila folder. He saw the baby on her shoulder. He saw the midnight blue silk dress. His calm, dark eyes, the most patient eyes in coastal South Carolina shipping, went very wide. His hand on the mahogany table closed slowly into a fist. Mr. Phineas Hollings opened the proceeding at 9:11. He laid out the executed will. He laid out the notarial seals. He laid out the witness statements from his 3 partners and from Father Hubert Devlin of St. Michael's. He laid out the medical record from the Hollings Cancer Center confirming Mr. Cole Ainsworth's lucid mental capacity for the full month preceding the will's execution. He laid out the Charleston Savings and Loan certified copy of Mr. Cole Ainsworth's holdings as of October the 18th of the previous year, 3 days before he met Mrs. Imara Boateng on the bench at Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park. The Nelson Mullins attorney spoke for 41 minutes. He raised undue influence. He raised lack of capacity. He raised fraud. He raised the relationship being insufficiently established. Mr. Phineas Hollings answered each in 8 minutes total. The undue influence claim required evidence Mrs. Boateng knew Mr. Ainsworth's identity. There was no such evidence. She had been ignorant of the connection until that very morning. The capacity claim was disproven by the medical record. The fraud claim was disproven by the witnesses. The relationship claim was irrelevant. The will did not require any particular relationship between testator and beneficiary. The probate judge ruled at 10:52 a.m. The will of Mr. Coriolanus Ainsworth was admitted to probate as valid, lucid, and unchallenged. The estate would pass to Mrs. Imara Boateng in full as written, subject to the standard 6-month creditor period waiting that had already, by the timing of Mr. Cole's foresight, mostly elapsed. Garrison Ainsworth III stood up from the mahogany table. He looked across the room at Mrs. Imara Boateng. He said very quietly, I will need time to vacate Trad Street. Imara, with baby Kojo asleep on her shoulder, said, Mr. Ainsworth, you will have 30 days. The locks will be changed on the morning of the 31st day. Mr. Hollings will coordinate. Please take only your personal effects. The Ainsworth family furniture remains. Mr. Cole said so in the will. 30 days, said Garrison. 30 days, said Imara. She looked at him. Her dark, slow eyes were quiet. She said, "Mr. Ainsworth, I was a maid. I was a widow. I was 4 months pregnant when you had me removed from your engagement party. I did not seek you. I did not seek your uncle. He found me on a public bench. He fed me. He gave me a crib for my son. He is the reason I am standing in this room. You may not understand that. He understood that. The company is mine. The house is mine. The work going forward will be mine. I do not wish to see you again unless the business requires it." She walked out of the probate hearing room. Mr. Phineas Hollings followed her, carrying the manila folder. Coraline Vassar made a small, sharp sound in her throat that the courtroom microphones did not pick up. Imara moved into the residence at 21 Trad Street, Charleston, on the second Monday of May, with baby Kojo Boteng and the small, soft brown stuffed bear with one button eye and the wooden hand carving Mr. Kwame Boteng had whittled for her on their first dating walk along the Battery. She brought also the soft blue knit blanket and the small white spindle crib from the cottage at 47 Smith Street. She did not bring Mr. Cole Ainsworth's 22-year-old navy wool suit. She left that hanging in the cottage closet with the small, soft yellow cottage held in trust as a Boteng Ainsworth family property in perpetuity, the way Mr. Cole had instructed. She walked into the boardroom of Ainsworth Shipping LLC at 81 Concord Street on the first Tuesday of June. She sat at the head of the long black table. She wore a simple cream skirt suit and the small pearl earrings Mr. Cole had bought from Berlin's of Charleston. She said to the assembled board, "Good morning. My name is Mrs. Imara Boteng. I am the controlling shareholder. Mr. Norris Cuthbert will continue as interim CEO. We have a great deal of work to do. Mr. Cuthbert and I will tell you, over the next 4 quarters, how it will be done. Are there any opening questions?" There were no opening questions. She raised wages for the line workers 7% in the second quarter. She replaced the subcontracted crane operation at the Charleston Naval Shipyard with a direct hire operation with mandatory triple redundant safety equipment in the third quarter. She established the Mr. Kwame Boteng Memorial Workers Safety Fund, capitalized at $6 million, in the fourth quarter. She announced the Mr. Cole Ainsworth Endowed Scholarship in Maritime Engineering at South Carolina State University in the first quarter of the following year. Ainsworth Shipping LLC's annual revenue grew 19% in the second full year of her stewardship. The Charleston Post and Courier business pages, which had once called Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III's eyes the most patient in coastal South Carolina shipping, now called Mrs. Imara Boteng, the quietest CEO south of the Cooper River and the steadiest. Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III moved after vacating the Trad Street mansion to a leased 2-bedroom condominium in Mount Pleasant. His engagement to Coraline Vassar was called off 3 months after the probate hearing. He took a position at a smaller shipping firm in Savannah, Georgia, at 1/10 his former salary. He did not contest the will further. He did not return to Charleston for the next 3 years. Baby Kojo Boteng grew. He took his first steps in the kitchen at 21 Trad Street at 14 months. He said his first word, mama, at 16 months. He said his second word, Cole, at 22 months, looking at the small black and white frame photograph of Mr. Coriolanus Ainsworth that Imara had hung in the front hall. There's an old saying in West Africa, the saying Mama Adwoa Boteng had taught Imara as a child in Kumasi. The saying goes, "The river that the heron has been chased from in the morning will be the river the heron rules at evening." The heron does not chase. The heron does not push. The heron stands very still. And when evening comes and the men who chased her have gone home tired and shouting, the heron is still standing in the same river and the river is hers. Imara Boteng, 28 years old, on the night Mr. Garrison Ainsworth III had her removed from the engagement party at 21 Trad Street, was 29 years old when she walked into the probate office of Hollings and Wexler LLP at 142 Broad Street, holding her son and her will. She is 31 years old now. and she stands at the head of the long black table in the Ainsworth Shipping LLC boardroom at 81 Concourse Street, and she signs the quarterly reports with a slow, careful hand. Her son sleeps in the crib in the upstairs bedroom of 21 Trad Street, 3 feet from a small, soft brown stuffed bear with one button eye. The Tiffany standing lamp at the foot of the bed is on at low. The October Charleston night air comes in through the cracked window, soft and salt damp from the harbor, 2 blocks south. The river is hers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to this channel and tell us where you are watching from. Have a wonderful day.